Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Miss Media, and today we are continuing to talk about Velma and how I actually kind of like this show and how everybody else hates it and they say, oh, it's horrible. I don't think it's horrible. I think it's not great. I still don't like the race lifting, and I don't like the fact that they made all the characters kind of iffy, but I think the story itself is pretty good, and I think in terms of being an adult show, I think it works. I think people just aren't getting that this is Scooby-Doo for an adult audience. I think people aren't understanding that a lot of it is satire, and it's just flying over people's heads, which I think is very weird because I'm on the autism spectrum, so if it should be flying over anybody's heads, it should be mine. So for me to be the one to realize, hey, this is making fun of Scooby-Doo, I think that's very weird. So, the last we saw, our main character, she had just discovered that her mother had been at Fred's house, so Shaggy, I'm not going to call him Norville because that just sounds weird, and I know a lot of you are going to have a problem with the fact that, a black person is being called Shaggy because he's a rapper, but he goes to visit Fred in prison, and somehow his father has this really funny thing where he puts on a cloak, and that cloak can just make people tell the truth. I don't know why, but I just found that very funny. And he goes to Fred, and he basically gets Fred to admit that they were going to burn down the house, I think for insurance money. I forget why, but I think it's for insurance money. And he also gets him to admit that Velma's mom was there, but he wasn't there. He wasn't part of what happened with her. He also finds out that his mother might be an insane asylum, which is weird because the principal is black, so I thought she was his mom, but maybe she's not his real mom, so that's something. Meanwhile, Velma's storyline is she ends up reconciling with Daphne, and I actually think that was kind of nice, because a lot of these shows would just have them hook back up again, but no, they're gonna take their time. They're gonna be friends. They do like each other, but they can't get there immediately because they've had a lot of tension and there's a lot going on in their lives. Daphne's trying to find her parents, which I have a feeling is going to tie into the murders somehow. Velma is trying to look into her mother and the murders, so they don't really have a lot of time to be a couple, so they're just kind of at a crossroads. They're like, we should just be friends right now. The other interesting thing is, in order to get to this, the school holds a self-defense class, but for some reason, it's a fighting tournament. I don't know why, but I did like the idea of watching Daphne just kick all these people's asses, and using her diary as a weapon was kind of funny. I know a lot of people are going to be mad that Velma read her diary, but I think that is... I think it works in context because I think it proves that, that Velma's just so bitter about what happened that she will do literally anything to get back at her. And she does apologize. She sincerely apologizes, and she gets Daphne to admit that she had a lot going on and she feels like they feel like they abandoned each other. I know I'm talking a lot about this show because I'm actually kind of enjoying it. It's not been so much about the murder mystery, but it's only 10 episodes, so I have a feeling we are going to definitely get more into the murder mystery aspect. Also, is there anything else? Is there anything else I can think of? But yeah, this was progress forward, and that's the other thing I like about this show. A lot of shows like this have a lot of intertwining plots that don't really lead anywhere, but this is actually making progress. This is actually moving the characters forward into a position where they can actually get stuff done. And I kind of tend to think of it as maybe not a Scooby-Doo show, but a murder mystery like Mare of Easttown. I've never seen Mare of Easttown, but a murder mystery kind of like that. And I'm kind of enjoying it, you know. I know a lot of people are flaming at it, and I'm sorry, but I don't think it's that bad. And I went into it thinking I wasn't going to think it was that bad, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how decent it is. Granted, it's not the greatest show ever, but it's enjoyable for what it is. I also like Shaggy's dad. Shaggy's dad is very funny. And I actually don't mind some of the mean humor. Some of the one-liners are actually pretty funny. So, there you go. Velma episode 3. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really wish people would give this show an actual chance, because I think it's pretty good. And if you guys like this content, I do a weekly anime live stream. I have Patreon. I have an Instagram, which I barely use. I have a Tumblr where you can ask me things. And that's it for now. And I will see you on Friday for episode 4 of Velma, and see just how many people hate me after I'm done with this show.